Hello, BookTube. Well, this is a federal holiday, and yet I was out on the couch freezing to death. It's freezing cold and dark as twilight here in Boston, of course. I don't really need to say that. It just is freezing cold and dark as twilight in Boston. It will never be anything else. But I was out on the couch, sweatshirt, sweatpants, long underwear, socks, fingerless gloves, a couple of blankets, my hood up over my head because the air is freezing cold. And Frida was buried in the blankets on the couch because she couldn't be up on her little window looking out because she'd have frozen to death. Because, it's just a few days until June. But anyway, I was there when I heard that telltale kerthump at the mail slot. And I would ordinarily have jumped up and run out to see what it was, but it was too cold, so I waited. And then eventually I did go, and there was a package out there. Something was delivered, even though it's Memorial Day. So it's only one package, but I wasn't expecting anything. So I thought we'd do a little mail. We've opened one package before as a mail, huh? I have no idea what this is. It doesn't feel like it comes from a publisher. But let's take a look and see. I can't imagine that any publisher would mail anything today. What have we got here? What on earth is this? What on earth is this? Baby, what on earth is this, huh? Oh, this is a plastic envelope, but what's inside is what worries me. Who is this from? Oh, all right, it does have a name on it. This is a gift. Two gifts. One is a Star Trek novel. Can you believe it? This is Rihansu, Book 4, Honor Blade. A Star Trek series that I remember about the Romulans, really centering on the Romulans. I think the reason why whoever sent it to me is because it's by Diane Duane, who's great. She's one of my favorite Star Trek authors. Wrote My Enemy, My Ally, which is widely regarded as one of the great Star Trek novels about the Romulans. But also a couple of other books that are wonderful. And she's also really good. One of the things, I don't know if she does in this book, because I don't know that I read this book. I'm not sure that I read. I think when I got to the Rihansu series, Rihansu is sort of the fan fiction name for the Romulans, and the fans just assumed that Romulans would not call themselves Romulans, so they named them. I think it might have been Diane Duane who came up with the name Rihansu. But I think what happened with this series, the Rihansu series, is that I think I read book one, and then missed one and didn't read the others. I'm not sure that I read this book. So I don't know that if Diane Duane does in here what her signature thing, one of her signature fun things as an author, is to add in references to trademark copyrighted material that she absolutely cannot name specifically, but she adds just enough of a reference so that you know what you're seeing, and that is wonderful. Is it the Diane Duane novel? I don't know why I'm asking. Maybe Mark Richardson would know. I don't know that any of the rest of you would. The Wounded Sky is the one with a spider, a sentient beach ball sized crystalline spider who is a famous physicist who's working with the Enterprise in that book. And at one point, I think it's in that book, or maybe this My Enemy, My Ally, maybe that's where it happens. In one of those two books, the characters in the Star Trek universe are clearly looking at the fourth Doctor from Doctor Who. It's described enough so that you know exactly what they're seeing, but not enough so that it violates any kind of copyright. And Diane Duane tends to do that. I wonder if she does that in this book. Well, okay, what have we got here? Let's see. At last, the United Federations of Planets and the Romulan Star Empire have agreed to meet on neutral ground to attempt to resolve the tangle of intrigue and conspiracy that began in the hijacking of the USS Intrepid many years ago. But the meeting may be as dangerous as the war they hope to avoid. Oh, no. So, well, naturally, this is part 4. This is going to refer to a whole bunch of things in the first 3 books. But Diane Duane is typically good enough as a writer so that you're not going to really miss that. As a show of good faith, the crew of the legendary Starship Enterprise has been ordered to attend the talks. In their informal charge is Romulan renegade Ale, a wanted fugitive who, with Kirk, served as a catalyst for the current troubles. Kirk must represent the interests of the Federation first and foremost, but the best approach to agreement remains muddled in the ever-shifting Romulan order. Okay. All right. This was a great pick. I don't know what deity is guiding all of your picks here, but I'm getting very few books in the mail that don't work. This certainly works. I don't have this, and I don't think I've read it, so that is great. But it's not the only thing. There was something else in here. Something that is bagged and boarded, to use comic book terminology, where you have the white cardboard and a plastic bag. What is in here? Oh my. Look at this. Goodness gracious, this seems like something you'd see on Jason Harrigan's channel, not mine. This is, dare I even ask what the year is? 1940. Good Lord. This is an issue of Amazing Stories. I was just reading. This is, look at that. Amazing Stories from 1940. Fishmen of Venus. Wow, by David Wright O'Brien. Oh my God, look at this thing. I don't know that this would even be sturdy enough to read. And I'm hoping that the person who sent this, you know who you are, and I am incredibly grateful. This was a very nice thing for you to do. I'm hoping that you realize that I am going to read this, even if it falls apart, right? I don't keep things, reading material that is too delicate for me to read. I'm not a book collector. I'm not a venerator in that way. So I am going to try to read this just like I would read any other science fiction periodical. I've been reading my science fiction periodicals. I'm loving it. That's why this gift hits home, because this is science fiction short stories, and I've been reading the daylights out of science fiction short story anthologies. Let's see what we have here for the table of contents. Oh my. We have The Case of the Murdered Savants by Thornton Eyre, Fishmen of Venus by David Wright O'Brien, The War of the Scientists by John Russell Fearn, Fearn, Revolt of the Ants by Milton Kaletsky, Black World by A.R. Steber, S-T-E-B-E-R, and When the Ice Terror Came by Jack West. I don't think I know any of those authors. I don't think I do. I don't think I know any of them. Wow. Okay. All right. This is fantastic. All right. Well, I will do my best to reinforce this so that it doesn't fall apart in my hands while I read it. But then I am going to read it. This is going to take pride of precedence over the anthology that I'm reading now. Look at that. Punching a guy with a ray gun. Yay. Oh, fantastic. Okay, well, that's the mail. Isn't that amazing? No pun intended. That is incredible. Oh, the person who sent this, I hope you didn't spend money. I mean, it's bad enough that you spent money on postage and that you risked a trip to the post office. I'm hoping that your area is a little bit safer than Boston. Boston is still not particularly safe to go to the post office if you don't have to. Well, I hope, though, that this isn't collectible in any way. I hope you didn't spend a lot of money on me, because the last thing I need is for anybody to do that. But I'm not complaining, because that is the mail for today. Great science fiction in the mail today. How wonderful. Okay. And the mail should be back to normal tomorrow. I don't know if that means that I'll be getting any mail tomorrow, but the holiday will be over. I wasn't expecting anybody to be out on the road delivering stuff today, and yet somebody was, and I got a present. People send me presents. This is the nicest thing in the world. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up, but I will be back. Thank you, BookTube.